Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation. Watch Kalamazoo Lively Arts every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Next, we head to the Park Trades Center to explore the power of handcrafted bookmaking.
My name is Jeff Abshire, and I'm the Executive Director of the Kalamazoo Book Arts Center. In the fall, it will be 10 years that we've been in operation here. We're a nonprofit organization that focuses on the traditional way of making books. So we have basically everything that has to do with bookmaking, from making handmade paper to letterpress printing, which is hand setting type and using a letterpress to print it. Any kind of image printmaking, like engravings, etchings, lithography, silk screen, any kind of that kind of imagery we can do here. And then we also have a book bindery where we produce books. People ask me often, what is digital books going to do to the discipline of bookmaking? And I think digital books are great for all the different kinds of books and magazines that were just being made to be thrown away. But now that those are going on to e-readers and onto computers and whatnot, tablets, it kind of makes the actual traditional book more of a special thing. So what we're doing is making books that are works of art. They're handmade, they're done with traditional prints, they contain original writing in them. So each book becomes a very special object that's different than what you would buy in a regular bookstore that was made in a factory by a machine. I think my own feeling about it is that contemporary poetry and handmade books is kind of like a marriage made in heaven. Handmade books, which are so precious and done to be savored in their physical state, encourage people to slow down and read the poetry. So it isn't just a paperback book that you read quickly and then sort of toss. It's a book that you kind of savor a little more, and I think that makes it into a work of art. I think that our mission as educators is very important at the Book Arts Center. We have now many years of history working with little kids from the time that they're in first grade, and we now often during Art Hop, when we have art openings, have kids come in here who are in high school that say, I remember coming here and making a book. So we offer opportunities to children that I think are lasting, that they remember and that make an impression on them. So we are among many organizations here in town. I mean, Kalamazoo is a very special place in terms of all the art organizations that we have here. And I think that we are blessed with having local foundations that recognize the importance of the arts and education. So we're contributing to that by helping with not only teaching people how to make things with their hands, but the fact that part of our mission also involves literacy and reading and writing, and I think that also makes us special. Okay, so this is the kind of paper that we're going to make. This is all different kinds of colors of handmade paper that different people have made.
How do you get the colors?
The colors are different pigments that we add to the pulp when it's being made. It won't be like this today because we need to just make the sheet and then it'll take overnight to dry it.
Right. First steps include?
Okay, so let me show you. I'll do one and then you can try one. This vat is filled with water that has beaten cotton pulp in it. So the cotton is beaten using a machine called a beater, which we have in the back room, that grinds it down to very fine so that it will float in the water like this. And what we do is we take what this is called a mold and a decal. This creates the edge of the piece of paper that's formed on the mold. So I put the mold on top of the decal like this, and I stir up the vat of pulp.
Goodness.
You have to hold your hands out on the mold like this, not here, because you'll get holes in your piece of paper. And you just take this and dip it down into the vat like this until you get level at the bottom, and then pull it straight up.
And hold it.
And hold it, and let the water drain out.
How long are we holding for?
Until you don't hear any drips anymore, a minute or so, just until it stops dripping. And then you can balance it over here on the side so that you can take the decal off.
Oh my gosh.
And the decal can just go right back in the vat. Then I'm going to come over here to these, which are felts, and this is traditional paper making felts that pieces are formed on.
We're doing flip.
So you just line it up here along the bottom, and you flip it onto the felt. This is called, in the language of paper making, couching. You're couching the paper onto the felt. So you press the paper down onto the felt.
Water droplets are coming
Yep.
up.
And then you open it up slowly like this, like you're opening up a book, and you have formed a sheet of paper. I'm going to put, this looks a little thin to me because we had some interns here making paper. I'm going to add a little bit more of the pulp to the vat. So this is the pulp. So this is beaten up cotton, which I'll add a little bit more here so we make sure we got
Wow.
thicker sheet. First thing to do is stir it up with your hands.
Stir it up both hands.
Yeah, and just
Make sure it's
that
big and
everything's-
wide.
And make sure that everything is floating. And then line up the
Line
decal.
these two up as
Exactly.
such, right?
And keep your fingers on the
On
frame.
the side.
And then you kind of go straight down like that until you get all the way to the bottom.
So I'm picking these
And
up.
then you go straight
I'm
up.
straightening up.
That's
And I'm
right, you got
holding.
it.
Holding,
You got
good.
it.
Okay, and letting it dry
And just
for.
letting it
How
drip
long
all-
do I know? How long do I
When
know?
you stop hearing
Okay.
the drips,
All right.
you should be okay.
Okay, now what?
And then you can balance it over here on the side. You can sort of on the edge over here.
Let
sit
it
there.
drip. Okay.
And then you can take the top off, so you can pull
Take
this,
the
pull
top
that
off. This goes down in here.
Mm-hmm. And then go
Okay.
over here to
Over
the,
here to this.
Huh?
Yay.
Yay.
Now what?
And then back up just a little bit.
Back up here.
And then
Flip it.
flip it up and all the way over. Press on this on the
Press
outside.
on the outside,
and then
right?
Open
Yeah.
it up like you're opening up a book. So
Like
hold
this.
that one side down and pull the other side up. Voila.
Voila! A little crinkly,
It's a
but
little
that's
crinkly,
okay.
but good for a first one.
That's a good thing.
And you can see on the finished sheet of paper once it's dried.
What's the chemistry that's causing this to bond?
Yes, let me explain. The little bits of fiber that are floating around in this vat are kind of like my fingers. They're sort of floating around in the water like this. Then when they come together onto the mold, they come together like this. And then after this is formed, we put it in the press and put hydraulic pressure on it to squeeze all the water out. So it flattens all the fibers out. And then once they're flattened, now try to pull your hands apart. And it locks your hands together. And that's the same principle here. So that
Wow,
while right
okay.
now, this is like oatmeal and could easily
Okay.
be pulled apart.
Okay, all right.
Once we put this into the hydraulic press and it all gets squeezed together,
That really is
then it becomes a piece of paper and you can
Okay.
pick it up
like a piece of paper.
like a wet paper towel.
Shelley, what does it take to make a book?
That's what's happening. Books are being made. Not only does it take, obviously, the physical process of making the paper, but it takes what's in my heart. What is going to be represented from me, my passion, into this book that they say we all have in us. And a lot of these creations were books of poetry. You know, Jeff's created quite an animal here.
And he really cares about his students, providing extraordinary experiences for them.
Yep, I mean, just look at his resume, working with Western as a professor and then opening up his studio such that those of all backgrounds can, quote, make books. And the big deal is he's all about international. He takes his students to the likes of Italy to share how their bookmaking process happens. So getting that hands-on mentorship is part of the process as well. So, boy, if you want to get to know Jeff, do it quickly because I'm sure he's booked up with many that are looking for his talent and his art. So,
All right, thank you for that chapter in our show this week.
Watch Kalamazoo Lively Arts every Tuesday at 6 p.m.